Hey guys, Toni Darlilng here at amazing Arizona Comic-Con. I'm here with Robert Kirkman and we're going to just talk to him a little bit about his work. So Robert, everybody knows about The Walking Dead, obviously, but I'd love to know a little bit more about your other projects that you have going on.
Oh, great. Yeah, I mean, I have The Walking Dead, which is, a TV show and also a comic book series. It's been running monthly for almost 10 years now, which makes me feel pretty old. But I also have another book called Invincible that's a superhero comic that's also been running for almost 10 years, and it's a cool thing. And then I have a all-ages title that I do called Super Dinosaur, that's about a dinosaur that shoots missiles and stuff, so that's kind of cool. And then I have a science fiction adventure story that's kind of about time travel called The Infinite that I have a lot of fun with. So I mean, I do a lot of really strange projects that don't really mesh with each other. I mean, I do The Walking Dead, which is very dramatic and horrific, and then I do Super Dinosaur, which is a lot of fun, and Invincible kind of falls in between, but and then The Infinite is, just like a cool action movie. So I don't know, I like to do different projects that kind of keep me excited about things. I do those 4 monthly books, and then I'm in the writer's room full time for the Walking Dead show, and then I also have an imprinted image comics called Skybound, and there we publish all of my books, but then we also do things like Witch Doctor, which are books by newcomers to the industry that I've kind of taken under my wing to try and help them get a leg up and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm kind of all over the map. I don't have a lot of time for most anything, so.
Yeah, I mean, how do you balance that, with personal life, work, and obviously all this fame? It's kind of cool for you, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, I have 2 young kids and a wife, and I have to make sure that I see them as often as I possibly can. So I basically work banker's hours for the most part. Sometimes I duck out of the writer's room a little before anybody else because I try to make sure that I'm home every night at 6. Before I worked on the show, I would come home every night at 5. But I see my kids every night. I don't work until they go to bed, and a lot of times I don't work at night. I'm able to kind of cram everything into the early morning hours and all during the day. I mean, I might pull a good 10, 12 hours a day, but sometimes I'll get up at 6 and, work for a while, and then every now and then if I get behind, I'll work late at night to catch up after my wife's asleep, but I don't work weekends at all, so I don't know, I'm able to just kind of plug it in. I mean, I really enjoy what I do, so I'm excited to get to the desk, and I'll sit down and I'll just be like, oh, I can't wait to write this story, and then I kind of move fairly quickly when I actually get time to do that stuff.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like you have everything pretty well balanced.
Not really. I mean, I'm always behind schedule, but I make it work.
So I guess I have a question. I mean, you started with Battle Pope. Did you think while you were writing that at some point, you'd be the Robert Kirkman, doing all of these different projects, being famous, things like that? How is that for you?
No, I only ever wanted to make this my job. That was my goal with Battle Pope. I was doing it more or less as a hobby. I was publishing it myself. I had a day job, and my goal was to get to a point where I could write comics and pay my bills with the money that comics generated. And so that was really all I was ever after. And so never in a million years was I writing Battle Pope going, oh my god, this is going to be happening someday. This will be really cool. It's all very shocking to me and somewhat silly, I'll be honest. It's a little strange, sometimes when I'm at these shows and doing a panel at a packed room. I mean, I almost feel like I don't deserve it, which is a little strange, I guess, but I don't know. I mean, I'm very thankful for everything that happened. I mean, I worked really hard on Battle Pope. I had a day job. I was working 18, 20 hours a day, and I'm very happy that it paid off, but I never forget where I came from. I remember being the guy at the comic book convention that was at the table by himself, and no one was coming over there, and I remember how heartbreaking that was and how difficult it was, and so I try to make sure I don't forget that and be appreciative of everything that's happening. So.
Now, with The Walking Dead, obviously, you've kind of made it apparent, the zombie area is a little bit of a stretch for you, or a different kind of route for you. Obviously, zombies have become wildly popular. What do you think about that trend? Did you write with that trend in mind, or was it just kind of a different angle you were trying to approach?
No, I mean, I've never really done anything because I thought it was going to be popular. I mean, every now and then I'll go, oh, it seems like there's not anything like this in the market. I'll try that and see if it works. But when I set out to do The Walking Dead, I wasn't aware of any kind of zombie trend. 28 Days Later hadn't come out. I'd never seen it. I had no idea that Romero was going to be doing another movie. I didn't know that the Dawn of the Dead remake was on the horizon. I didn't know that these key things in the rise of the zombie fiction was going to be happening alongside The Walking Dead debuting, completely independent of it, you know? Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you started the zombie craze, and it's like, I really did not. You know, those movies were happening at the same time as the comic, and none of us were aware of each other, and I mean, I think the Dawn of the Dead remake being so successful is why they did The Land of the Dead with Romero, but, you know, it was all a thing that was happening, and I just wanted to do a cool comic. You know, I liked zombie movies, and I thought it would be fun. I had no idea it was going to be like this.
Right. Well, and you also mentioned, you know, in your comic, in the very, you know, beginning, the introduction about, you know, the social commentary that, you know, zombie apocalypse makes, and so is that just an interest of yours philosophically, or?
I mean, I'll be honest, no one notices, but I'm just writing a soap opera, you know, like people do notice, and some people are critical of that, but I like writing human interaction, and I like exploring how human emotions work, and how human emotions would work in this kind of a setting, and what that does to people, and how it makes them behave, and how it changes their behavior over time, and that's really the nuts and bolts of The Walking Dead, and what I really enjoy doing. I mean, the zombies are just kind of set dressing, so I don't know, I just like the drama of it, and you know, the romance and all that kind of nonsense, so that's really the fun stuff for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you find yourself in, you know, doing a similar kind of thing in your other comics, like, you know, Invincible and things like that? Do you have as much of a focus on, you know, how humans would, or, you know, how people would act in those situations? Is that also kind of your approach, or?
Well, I mean, I try to do realistic stories about, you know, different characters and how they behave. I mean, Invincible is, you know, one issue it will be about a bunch of aliens punching a planet and knocking it into the sun, and then the next issue will be about, you know, Invincible and his girlfriend crying over this horrific thing that they've had to deal with. So, you know, all of my books, to a certain extent, you know, feature human characters with human emotions doing stuff, and it's because I'm a big girl. I'll be honest.
Big teddy bear inside, absolutely.
I mean, I'm rough and tough. Don't get me wrong.
Great. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Robert. I really appreciate it. And Toni Darlilng here, Geek Associated Press at Amazing Arizona Comic Con.